This is the side yard here. That's where I work, under those trees. Hell strip over there. And this is a Salvia microphylla. It's a canyon sage. And you know, it typically grows better. You can see it's how it's wilted. I mean, it's October 4th, and it's been super dry, and I don't water it, so that's what it looks like, I guess. Same thing here, mountain laurel. Mountain laurel looks really, really good this year. I had to trim it to keep it away from the curb. Still coming back strong. Lots of new growth on it. These verbenas, sweet almond verbenas, are going to have to move back about 5 feet. I didn't understand how big they would get. I mean, when they said 8 feet, they didn't say it would go 8 feet one direction. They said 8 feet total. That's what the thing said, it would get 8 feet wide. That's not true at all. It's 16 feet wide. You got 8 feet wide by 8 feet wide. So I don't know what they were talking about, but I got to move these. These are mature. This is going to be like a big move. And they're intruding on the driveway. I didn't cut them this year because I wanted to see how big they would get so I could see how far back to move them. And I think that's the ideal distance right there to move them back. So I'm going to have to move these 3 back quite a bit. Good times. Oh, just more side yard here. That's the garden. And then side yard stuff. Greg's Mist flower is the attractant for many, many, many different kinds of butterflies. It does really well here. I've been at war with the nettles in here. Hopefully I've got them out. My goodness, it's been 5 years. And I think I've got them narrowed, like blocked into one little corner underneath this thing. I think there's one left. So the Texas sage, this again is a El Dorado Cenizo, super white in the silver. I love the white against the greens. You can see the green in the background there. I just like the silverish white color. Also, Tough as Nails native. This is an Anacostia orchid, which, wow, did it get big. Well, it's kind of what I wanted, but I didn't want it to get that big. It's huge. That's all right, whatever. It is going to force me to move a couple of things. There's 2 bushes back here that are not really doing so well. Oh, actually, I can see them under there. See, they're barely blooming. They're under there. And they're not doing so well. So I'm going to take those out and move them because this thing is a giant. Holy crap. It's blocking out everything. So I'm going to move a couple of things over there. I wanted a divider between the Greg's Mist flower and this. This is sensitive briar. And I want the sensitive briar here. This is another plant that is not commercially available. The Lady Bird Johnson Wildflower Center sent a representative to my house to take a sample of this because they didn't have any. And here you go. So because they sent somebody over, I thought, wow, this must be some pretty cool stuff. So I made a little garden out of it. Well, the Greg's Mist flower will take this over. So I'm trying to keep a divider here, which is the reason I've got, this is... Xylos. I always say this wrong. This is starts with a Z. I always say it wrong. I can't remember what it is, but it's a big one. Underneath there's a Texas sage. It's been swallowed, and yeah, I don't think it's going to make it out. I think it's pretty much dead. But I just was looking for a border because I don't want the Greg's Mist flower to take over the whole garden. I want the Greg's Mist flower to stay here, and I want this to be its own garden. I've worked really hard to get this established here by itself, and I want to keep it there. These lantanas. So I had all of the lantanas here. I had one of each lantana here, 5 different lantanas that are commercially available. All of the butterflies went to the native. Some of the butterflies went to the Dallas Red. I decided to keep the 2 that they went to. And you can definitely see the difference. This is the Dallas Red, and you can see the difference in foliage versus if you look at this one, which is the native. You can see the difference. This plant just kind of looks different than this plant. I don't water them any differently. This plant is the native. This plant is the Dallas red. Look at the difference in foliage. There are differences here. Anyway, and you can also kind of see the red in the flower that's left. Let me see. Here's one. It is more red than a typical lantana. So there's that one compared to, let's see if I can get this in frame. That one. That one is not as red. Don't know if you can tell that. But there are differences in the lantana. So I got rid of all the ones they didn't go to, which turns out I kept 5 natives and then 1 Dallas red, just because it was a second choice. You never know. And I wasn't sure. If I had to do it again, I wouldn't keep a Dallas red because they don't go to this one. With 5 natives here, they absolutely avoid the Dallas red. So if I had to do it again, I wouldn't even have the Dallas red. But it's here, it's established, so I'll let it go. It's a lantana, whatever. So these are mealy blue sage, and a lot of thoughts on this plant here. I didn't expect it to grow this well, to be honest with you. It comes up all over the place. This is truly a desert plant. It gets no care, no water. This is almost a hell strip out here. It does get a little bit of morning sun, but these mealy blue sages grow great. They do attract a ton of pollinators. What else is interesting is the birds. These must attract some bugs because the birds are always coming through here, through these plants. There are, I think, cardinals living in the lantana, and they will come into the mealy blue sage. Very interesting. Speaking of coming into the lantana, I think there's 2 chili patine plants here growing in the lantana. I think maybe this is how they're supposed to grow. This relationship for this plant, this relationship works out so well that I think this might be a relationship in the wild. The reason is the lantana provides scaffolding, and these plants that are typically smaller work their way up through this scaffolding. The scaffolding on this lantana is, well, here, I'll break one. You can hear that. It's fairly stout for a little native pepper plant. And so I think that this plant has a relationship. So I'm going to take the chili patines and I'm going to interspace them here and put them right next to the lantana. You can see they're almost growing like I don't know if you can see it. It's so jumbled, but where is it? Can you see it? There it is right there. That's the chili patine root coming down into the soil. Can I see it? Right there. Anyway, so it seems to be a really good relationship. And so I'm going to try that again. I'm going to put 2 more over here and see if that works. I mean, why not put my chili patines here? They grow better in the sun like that, and their roots would be shaded. So I'm going to give it a shot. Little butterfly break here. That's what this garden is for. Butterflies. Pollinators. These grasses, I rescued these grasses from a doctor's office. The doctor was just mowing over them. He didn't know what they were. So after a storm, I went and literally just yanked them out of the ground with his permission and put them over here. So they grow great here. I had them over here too, but this mountain laurel got pretty big, so I think I might relocate that one over here. Fig. Oh, this fig. This fig's very interesting. It's always hurting. Various stage of hurt. It's never done very well for various reasons. It's been broken 2 years in a row. Contractors came by, broke it. This year, I asked the contractor specifically not to put the mulch there. They put it there. Whatever. So it doesn't always work, right? This is where I'm going to put the milkweed. This was an artichoke garden. During the fall, this gets quite a bit of sun. So I'm going to terrace it because the water really... Last year, I put a bunch of milkweed seeds down and the water just rushed them down into here. So I'm gonna just terrace it so that there's berms and so that the water stays and I can more properly track the seeds. So that's what's going on here. And then I'm gonna turn the misters back on and get that fired up again. That's gonna be milkweed garden. Doesn't look like much now. This is a volunteer. It was here when I got here. I try to keep it trimmed back into the container. But this is also a litmus test for me. I can tell if deer have been in the yard because the deer like it. So they'll come over here and eat it. I believe this is called Purple Heart, I think. It's kind of cool. It's purple. It's a change, but not a sun plant for sure. Yeah, more chives. Deer used to sleep here, and so I put chives there. Nice and easy solution. And this is where I moved. So when the deer moved away from my yard, I had all these chive plants all over the yard, and so I got them all and put them right here. So I have a great selection of chives right here. And somehow I'm going to have to incorporate them into the garden, but that is what it is. So this is the garden, and you can just see the pollinators in it. I mean, there's just butterflies, stuff everywhere. This is another mountain laurel that was planted by Crystal. It's not doing so well. And I'm trying to keep it growing. But I keep killing it. It's the second time I've killed it. So I'm trying to keep it going. Had an artichoke make it through the summer. That was really interesting. I typically pull up the artichokes. I let this one live. In the future, I'm going to let my artichokes live during the summer and see if they can make it, because these seem to be making it. This one did. These two, there's two in there. Tomatoes, put my tomatoes out here, and I think strategically what I'm going to do is put my tomatoes where I want to put my fall garden, because that worked out great. When I moved it, there was a big bare area, so I could put seeds in there. So that's what I'm going to do next year. The tomato, you're not supposed to have tomatoes in your front yard, so I have these shorty cages. That way the tomatoes grow out of them, so they're hidden. And I put 2 tomatoes per cage to crowd them in. Did great, had a great return this year. Our favorite tomato is a Cherokee Purple, and it just doesn't do well. I mean, I get tomatoes, but like 6 from per plant per year, which is just not worth it. Might as well just buy them or whatever. So, you know, there's a particular time of year, like right now, where there's not a lot of stuff that's coming into bloom. Stuff is going out of bloom. And these seem to be in bloom at a period, the mums. These are chrysanthemums, mums. And these chrysanthemums seem to be in bloom whenever other things are not. Shauna brings them home for fall, and she typically throws them away when she's done with them, but I resurrected them and put them in the garden so I'd have something at the corners. So I'd have something bringing pollinators to the garden during the fall. These plants are out of the garden because I'm taking them to Houston. The butterflies absolutely love this Passiflora fetida, whatever. And there's a couple of specific butterflies that just love this thing. I'm not sure if both of them lay eggs on it or not, but I mean, right now there's probably 3 or 4 different kinds of butterflies, 3 different kinds of wasp in the garden, bees, there's bumblebees. I mean, it's just, there's crazy activity over here, which is exactly what I wanted. That's what I planted it for, was exactly this. And got garlic coming up here. See, garlic is coming up here. I planted more garlic from seed, but only one of them has come up. That one right there. Don't know why, but that's the only one that's come up. And all the others are just not doing so well. So I might have to try something different, but I want more artichokes this year. And I planted those a month ago. So it's about time. No, we had 2 more different kinds of butterfly come into the garden just now. I mean, it's just crazy the amount of pollinators that come into this spot. They love the peas. I make sure during the summer, when I water the garden, I water it at the beginning of the day. So in the morning, these things have water when they're waking up. And They are typically, on the day I water them, they'll be moist throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? So I'll water maybe, I don't know, hour after sunrise, but there's no sun on the garden yet. It's kind of blocked, and it really brings in the insects. This is ugly. I'm not gonna mess with it. I did have a pineapple guava here, but it got too big, and so I just kind of let whatever grow here. There's a couple of hackberries and a couple of boxwoods, and yep, I got to do a better job there. But that's the side garden for what we got here. Oh, purple hoe peas. That's right, purple hoe peas, black-eyed peas, purple hoe peas, whatever you want to call them. What else? Tomatoes, artichoke, garlic. Steady supply of wasps. Never-ending supply of red wasps. All right, that's the side garden. That's what I've got for you.